right, you birds. We're going to go through this particular screen, which is took me quite a while to figure out. So if you're new and confused by this, or if you've watched a whole bunch of videos and are now more confused than you ever were, maybe this will help a wee bit. Took a while to figure out, but I think we've got it. So the idea here is if you're a musician, you don't need MIDI. You just bang out your part and then move on to the next track. However, if you're like me, you need to make the MIDI file, then you need to correct all the notes, etc. And then you need to play that file out into an external piece of hardware, a synthesizer module, trigger the audio, and then record the audio here into this #1 track that's now highlighted. And highlighting seems to be the issue because it won't play if the MIDI track isn't highlighted. So the first thing we'd look at is this row at the top here where it says MIDI tracks, input, output, key range, arm, monitor, level. These are actually going to end up, when this is populated, you'll have to read down. And there's no line, so it's not obvious anyway. So arm is all here. Key range, we don't know what that is. Output, that's going to be important. Input, also important. And then your tracks here. We'll get to that. Don't worry. So to begin, we're going to go back to the beginning. I'm going to make this as a drum track. I'm going to go here. Okay, no. And we should have a drum sound. And that pattern should be ready to go. So if we started it here, you get the idea, the basic deal. And we'll need to rename this because that's a thing with this system, such that it is. So there we have it. Now we're going to come over to this little widget here. And the first thing we're going to do is unarm the MIDI track because we don't want to record over it. And then we're going to go to here. And we need to go to, whoops. Now we'll need to go back here. This is track 2. We're going to turn that into a MIDI track. And we're going to assign our MIDI port, which in my case is MIDI MPC A. And I've just got, since this Moog thing is so old, it doesn't have USB. So it's just going to be the 5-pin DIN connectors, and it's MIDI out on from the MPC to MIDI in on the Voyager, and the same coming out. Out goes to in the MPC. So there's that going. And we're going to have to arm this because we want to record the MIDI file. And this is our first track, which is loaded up to begin with. So you can't see this, but my 16 pads have lit up because I've shifted to MIDI and the MIDI's armed, and this should... Now you can see on the... I wish this was better. But you can see that when I press a button, this little light lights up. That indicates that MIDI is getting through. Now, if we needed to, we could go back here to main and hit that thing and go to out and clear and press a pad, and you could see that the MIDI is working. So now back to where we were. Make sure that's highlighted. Okay, a couple more things need to get done here. Press note repeat. We're going to go to 1/8. So we go there, and 2 bars is plenty. And we want to make sure this is in record and play. And that should do us. We should finally be ready. All this prep needs to get done. It's not just a big time waster. So be kind of nice if we had a song, but we don't. So let's just play this drum thing. that's kind of cool, but it's not what we're looking for. I don't know why we're getting the output on. Okay, there's been some. We need to get rid of all these notes, all these notes. Okay, somehow I loaded that sequence into the wrong track. Okay, we've got some nominal thing going here. So shift and stop will return it, record and play, and we should be ready to go. Let's see. Okay. 2, 3, 4. Let's see, so we were able to monitor. You don't arm this or else it'll start recording, and you want this monitor column here to make sure on the audio track that it says in. You have to have this track, the MIDI track, active. Like if you went here, you'd get the drums. If you go here, you've got this Voyager. So to actually record that, and I guess these notes are fine. See, we're going to do that and be bitching. So now we change this to auto and this to arm. Shift and stop takes the returns back to the beginning. We arm this and then we hit play. 3, 4. Whoops, that was a complete screw up. See how this was armed? It just erased it. So we'll just have to go again. And this is kind of the way it's been all the way down the line. Once you get the hang of this, it'll still be slow and clunky. Come with me on our voyage of discovery. So now we need to re-record. Okay, so now we can come back here. That sounds close to about right. More what we, it's always something a little different, which is part of its charm, I guess. So now, this is the difficult part, remembering this complex sequence-dependent series of events. We have to unarm this MIDI track or it'll just keep recording over it. So, back to the beginning, and then we're going to change this to auto and arm that track and ready to man our filter. And record and play. 2. And so we stop and we unarm And now this is important too. This track will keep playing forever until we go to none. So now and you could mute this too if you wanted to. And now we should just be hearing this. Brilliant. And we can come here to menu, sample edit, and there's our sample. Okay, and it sounds pretty clean. I'm going to name this, I'm going to call it Funky Thing, because that's what it's called on the Voyager. So there's that. And now we go back to main, yada da, and we can hit this little plus sign, and that'll make, yay, another track. And we want that to be in, and we're going to go to main and midi. We're going to call this Funky Thing. Whoops, Funky Thing, so funky.